news. So many people on meth. Ow!
Well, yesterday on the Whacked Out News, we were telling you how the Jeffrey Epstein story is pretty much all over. There is nothing else to talk about. There's not a bunch of videos. There's not a Jeffrey Epstein client list. Nobody killed him. He committed suicide.
There's no videos of celebrities with underage girls that he was using to blackmail lots of powerful people.
Yep. Well, the reason why people really couldn't believe what the FBI now has said about this is the fact that Pam Bondi had come out, the Attorney General, and had talked about how she has these videos and a stack of things on her desk. And everybody's like, wait a minute, we were expecting all this stuff. What a tease. And then when it's like, no, there's nothing. And people are like, okay, wait. So, yesterday, the White House press secretary, Catherine Leavitt, she was getting grilled as people were saying, wait a minute, explain yourself on this because this is not what we were expecting.
And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the president's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. That's what they did, and they provided the results of that. Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that.
Okay, but it sounds like that's it. They've answered the questions, and it's time to move on. So.
Stop asking us.
Yes.
Because we got to hide this. So we're going to hide it, and we're not going to ever tell you who's on it because we know people on it.
It's not sitting well with a lot of people, the results, and I've just resigned myself to say it's just not really ever going to come out, I don't think. Because, look, you've had both sides with a crack on this. The Dems had it. The Republicans have had it. Nobody's going to release it. So
that's because there's Democrats and Republicans on the list.
Probably, yeah. So,
powerful ones.
Yeah, it ain't coming out.
This ain't down party lines.
No, it's not.
Both sides have people on the list, and that's why you won't see the list.
Yep. All right, well, let's move on to the stories that really matter, like guys on meth hijacking trains in Key West. You ever seen that Conch Tour sightseeing train that they take around?
Yes. I always watch it. It's fascinating how they maneuver that thing because it's long.
The only thing that makes it more fascinating is when there's a guy that is high on meth that is the one that's driving it.
Was he the sanctioned tour guide?
No, he was not, but he claimed he was.
He somehow got the train to go 900 miles an hour.
Did they leave the keys in it and he just took it for a joyride?
No, he convinced an employee he once worked there and he was on a tour. And so, in Key West, everybody's like very agreeable.
Yeah, dude, whatever, bro.
I used to work here. That's fine. Here you go. Here's the keys.
You look responsible.
Didn't notice that 57-year-old Jonathan Patrick Winslow was high on meth at the time, and he was acting very erratically. They say as he took off in the Conch Tour train, he picked up two unsuspecting passengers that had no idea that the driver was currently tweaking on meth. He drove the train around downtown Key West while still blasting rock from his running Kia nearby.
Huh.
Police then tracked down the train via GPS and located him. When they said, what are you doing, dude? You stole the Conch Tour train. He's like, no, I only borrowed it, man. And it's my birthday.
Oh, all right.
Well, that does make a difference.
Yeah.
We cool.
They searched him. They found a pipe in his pocket. He said, no, that's for weed. And they went through and did an analysis on it. No, it was just caked with meth.
But dude, it's his birthday.
Yes. Now he's got charges of burglary, grand theft auto, and drug paraphernalia.
But a great story in the Key West jail.
I mean, the Conch Tour train is hijacked by a meth-wielding maniac. I mean, come on. That's good stuff.
That's so Florida.
So Keys.
He was so close to getting away with it.
A 31-year-old man from Holly Hill, Florida, tried to steal nearly $1,500 in merchandise from a Lowe's in Palm Coast. But instead of paying, he bolted, climbed onto the back of a passing UPS truck, and got away.
Wow.
Now, people are taking photos, which you can see on KBJ TV, of this dude just chilling on the back of a UPS truck with the door closed. So you're like, that looks odd. Somebody called the cops and said that doesn't seem right. The driver stopped to have him hop off, and then law enforcement quickly tracked him down and arrested him.
Aw.
You see a guy in the back of a Lowe's truck on the road. Is your first instinct to call 911 or to grab your phone and start filming?
Grab your phone and start filming.
I think that's...
Look, he put himself there.
Yeah,
Whatever happens is on him. I got to get a viral video.
Right, exactly. Somebody else can use their phone to call 911. Mine's busy filming.
Mine is busy for clicks and shares.
We got a quota. We have a quota.
I'm working, y'all.
There's a 77-year-old Vermont man that doesn't really know how things work on I-95 and how dangerous it is. I get it. He saw a turtle on the highway, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to stop and help him out. It's 4:30 p.m.
Oh, no. Rush hour?
Yeah.
Oh.
The cars started piling up pretty quickly, as you can imagine, on I-95. I don't know what happened to the turtle, but the guy did not make it. So, yeah, just... If you don't know and you're in Florida, I-95 is a death trap.
The guy died?
Yes,
Trying to save the turtle.
Yeah, without you taunting fate. Yes, I know we have a lot of animals that love to get on those roadways. Unfortunately, you just got to keep on going because it just doesn't work well when you try to survive with their life. You got to just survive with your own.
That's a time when you need a shell as a human.
But he was in his 80s. Like maybe he
He's
got
77.
Oh, I thought you said
Those 3 years are important.
Yeah, just ask him.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
40-year-old Matt Bender of Winter Park was surfing at New Smyrna Beach when he was bitten on the arm by a shark. That is the shark bite capital of the world, if you did not know. They just, took him to the hospital, went through a couple surgeries, not a big deal. And he said, can't wait to be out surfing again, dude. Hang 10.
That's how they are, man. I worked with the guy, got bit twice, 2 different times by a shark. He swears, he goes, man, if I could get bit just a 3rd time, I'd be able to have a book.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. There was a video going around yesterday of a 61-year-old farmer that turned up missing in Indonesia. They then found nearby a 28-foot python with a weird bulge in its midsection.
The python ate the whole entire farmer?
Yep.
It is weird what makes the pythons go after some humans and sometimes they leave them be. Was the python just so hungry?
Don't know what it was, but a grandmother recently got swallowed by a 26-footer. And so far in Florida, I checked, no Burmese python has ever killed a human here in Florida as far as they know. But, we're talking about, we are pulling, 20-footers at least?
Yeah.
Out of the Everglades, these are a 28 and a 26-footer, so...
We're on deck.
And we're new to this world. They haven't quite got so comfortable, but what they do...
Yeah, you're just wondering, okay, how long before we unfortunately have our own story there. So thank God we've got the Python season is coming up here in like a week, a couple days. I think it starts on the 11th.
Will we ever be in a time that you're seeing pythons on the reg up in even the Port St. Lucie area where they migrate north?
Yeah,
and
I don't see them stopping.
I don't see them stopping either.
Yeah.
I mean, they do best in the Everglades. Good food supply. They get out into... if you're in the city, you're going to be spotted and somebody's going to come get you. So they're not going to be, I don't think, a problem if you live in the city, but they'll be around.
Port St. Lucie's got bigger problems.
Yeah. They had a bee attack in France. 24 people were injured. 3 are in critical condition.
Whoa.
They think maybe it was triggered by Asian hornets threatening beehives in a downtown hotel's roof terrace that was installed over a decade ago.
Insect on insect?
Yeah, I think so.
Damn, those people just got caught in the middle of a gang war.
I think it's like those Asian hornets that come in. Don't they decapitate other bees?
Oh, damn.
They send the
they're like the
message.
cartel
Yes.
of the bee world. It's just unbelievable. There was a man that was witnessed running on fire as he fled from a suspected arson incident at a salon in Sydney.
Oh, boy.
How often do you see this? There are so many videos now of dum-dums that arsonists that try to light a place on fire and instead they catch themselves on fire.
Dummy.
Yeah. He went to a hospital for a treatment of burns. They said, yeah, you're probably the guy that tried to light the salon on fire.
He's like, no, that wasn't me. I was barbecuing.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah. There was a road rage incident that led to delays on a California freeway after one of the drivers involved stole the other driver's keys. The two started fighting on the freeway when one of the drivers, who was in a van, cut off the other driver's car. The driver of the van then called the police after getting kicked and having his keys stolen. Since the van was left behind because the man had his keys stolen, it caused delays on the freeway until a tow truck arrived to remove it. The driver who stole the car has not yet been found. Wow. That's quite a move, though.
That is.
To go in and steal somebody's keys. Now, here's a big dum-dum. A 30-year-old drug dealer in Ireland got caught dealing drugs while in a courtroom for a sentencing on a previous drug conviction.
He can't stop.
But in a sense, you got to be like, you know what, that's kind of impressive in a way.
It is a good place because, everybody else is there for drug crime, so they like drugs. So if you are looking to market to a group of individuals, it's your target audience right there in one spot.
Really not a bad idea. So he's just a hustler, I guess.
He's hustling.
Yeah.